Girlfriend, do you love a flawless face? Me too. And you are in the right place if you do. Have you ever asked yourself, can I use foundation over my concealer? Well, I'm here to answer that for you today in today's video. Hi, my name is Ingafay and I am a beauty enthusiast. And in today's video, I'm going to share a blending technique that you should use when it comes to blending your concealer for a seamless and smooth finish. I will cover some common mistakes that people make when applying their concealer. This can either enhance your look or diminish your flawless face if this is done incorrectly. So we got to make sure you get it right. And last but definitely not least, I wanted to share exactly when your foundation should be applied. You'll be surprised what we find out because it's not necessarily what you think. So let's get into this. Well, first and foremost, let's talk about the blending technique for concealer. When we talk about concealer, how is concealer different from foundation? Well, concealer has a more concentrated pigment than foundation. And as a result of that, you want to put it in the targeted areas that is required. Now, typically when someone is using concealer to camouflage imperfections, like a blemish from a past breakout, may even be redness or even discoloration. It could be around your eyes or just in your skin in general. So you want to make sure that you're using the right technique to blend your concealer into your foundation. So the best way that I have found is that you use a tapping motion more so than a blending motion. Now, why is that? Well, the tapping helps you to smooth and blend the area of imperfection so it's seamless. But when you rub in, it just basically wipes the concealer away. So it's not actually concealing anything. It's just blending into your skin. Now, you want to make sure that when you're using a concealer, you're using a concealer that's lighter than your skin complexion, because that is really where it's going to allow you to truly blend it into your skin. Because if you have a discoloration like redness or a darker part of your face, like under eye circles, if your concealer is the same color as your skin, it's not going to really truly blend. The lighter color of your concealer really helps it blend into your skin tone. When you blend the foundation and the concealer together, it looks seamless. Another thing that I wanted to share with you is the importance of the tools that you use. There are two types of tools that you can use when it comes to blending your concealer and doing it in that tapping motion. You can use your God-given tool, which is your finger. One thing about using your finger, however, if you have oily skin, the natural oil from your skin is going to transfer onto your face. So it may be best to keep your hands out of your face and use a blending brush, really a concealer brush that allows you to blend your concealer in flawlessly while keeping your hands out your face. So I'm curious, what type of tool have you been using in the past? Have you been using your fingers or have you been using a concealer brush? Share that in the comments below. I would love to know what you're thinking. So now let's cover some common mistakes that people make when using concealer. Now, we've already said that concealer has a more concentrated pigment than foundation. How do you know when to use it? First thing that you want to consider is what type of foundation are you using? The type of foundation that you use is really going to be contingent on when you apply the concealer. If you're using a powdered foundation, which would be like a mineral powder or a translucent powder, you can apply the concealer before the powder. And why would you do that? The reason that you want to do that is because the concealer can be quite messy when you apply the powder first and then the concealer. The great thing about the concealer, because it's highly concentrated, it can be worn alone. And what the powder does is actually set the concealer in place so that it won't transfer over to other places on your face that are not needed. If you are using a powdered foundation, it would be in your best interest to conceal first and then apply the powder. However, let's talk about a liquid or cream type of foundation. If you're using that type of foundation, what do you do then? Well, the best thing to do when you're using a cream or powdered foundation is to apply your concealer after you apply your foundation. You can conceal any imperfection areas that you have, and again, using that blending technique that we just talked about to blend the concealer into place. The great thing about concealer is that it can be used for any skin type, it can be used for any age, and it can be used for any color. So it's very versatile when it comes to you actually getting the most out of your concealer. There's no limitations on who can use the concealer. The only limitations is the type of foundation that you're using, and the location and purpose of the concealer. The purpose and the location of the concealer, for me personally, I put concealer on around my eyes. My eyes are dark. I have darker lids as well as under eye circles. And as a result of that, I apply concealer before my foundation because the concealer is a base for my eyeshadow. It allows my eyeshadow to stay on longer, and then it also gives me a neutral base that when I put the eye color on, it really allows it to pop. Now, are you a person that does that? Do you have any kind of imperfection around your eyes, like redness or even discoloration like I'm describing here, where concealer would help you out to extend your eyeshadow wear as well as give you that neutral base? If that's the case, you definitely want to apply concealer before you apply your eyeshadow. Before I go into a poll of professionals and finding out when they apply concealer, I wanted to remind you guys to subscribe to my channel. Do You Boo TV will have a new uploaded video every Tuesday, and I don't want you to miss an episode, so be sure to subscribe down below. Now, let's talk about this poll that I was telling you about of professional women and finding out when others actually apply their concealer. Well, the thing about this poll was I did not identify what type of foundation that people were wearing. So it was really curious to know exactly what other people were doing because I never did specify that, like I just shared with you about the common mistakes that people make. When I ran this poll, about 1,500 people were actually viewed the poll, and the poll ran for about a week. What I found out was that 71% of women apply their concealer before their foundation, while 29% of women apply their concealer after they place their foundation on, which leads me to wonder what kind of foundation do they wear? Do they commonly wear a liquid foundation or a cream foundation like I just described, or are they wearing a powdered foundation? Well, since I didn't specify that, I really don't know. I am hoping that based on this information that I shared with you today, that you can make an educated choice on exactly when you will apply your concealer. You are someone that's looking for ways to extend your foundation and your concealer wear. Be sure to check out the link down in the description. I have a virtual perfect match beauty experience that will allow you to really find the foundation shade and concealer shade, as well as how to extend your foundation wear for you to have that flawless face all day. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.